Hi, and welcome to index cards for Windows 10.
In this video, I'm going to speak a little bit about OneDrive Backup. This is a very powerful feature in the application, and I highly encourage you to enable this. If you go to the settings, you'll see that there is an option here for OneDrive Auto Backup. What this means is that the application, while you're using it, will back up your data to OneDrive. This will be very powerful in case you ever lost your computer or the computer got damaged and you couldn't access your hard drive. This way it will ensure that your data is safely stored and backed up in the OneDrive cloud from Microsoft. To enable OneDrive backup, all you have to do is click the icon to the on position. Now, once you do this, two things will happen. It will create a folder on your OneDrive called index cards. And if it's the first time that you are doing this, then it will also ask you for authorization and permission to access the OneDrive system. That way it can be authorized to write to that cloud store. It will take a couple of minutes to initiate this first sequence. What it's doing right now, as I mentioned, it's now creating a folder and uploading the first copy of the database to OneDrive. And you can see now that it's now been successfully enabled and the database has been synced and stored up to OneDrive. This is the only time you have to enable this. It works in the background and you don't have to worry about it after this time. Every time you use the app, it will then back up the data to OneDrive, so you can be confident that your data is stored securely. Another feature on the database side is if you wanted to reset your database completely. So maybe in this particular case, you want to restore, delete everything in the app and start from scratch. To do that, you just have to click Reset Database. Now, if you reset database, obviously you're going to get a window that says, are you sure you want to do this? And we're going to say yes. And now the database will be completely reset and it closes the application as well. Once you open up the application, you'll see that the only stack that appears is the original tutorial stack, just like the first time you use the application. Now, in this time, I'm going to do something a little bit more advanced, which is I'm going to go back to the application, and in this case, once we've reset the database, everything has been sort of set back to its original starting position. But now I'm going to restore a database, and I can restore a database by clicking this icon here, and it's going to give me an option of picking a database that already exists. Now in this case, I'm going to go to the file that was just uploaded to OneDrive that we just started. This could be any file that you have, any database that you have saved from the app that you've chosen to keep a backup of. So in this case, I'm going to restore the index cards app, which is the one in OneDrive, and it's going to process that and restore the database. And now if I go back to the app, you'll see that it restored the database to the point that we had previously saved. Now, in a similar way, when I now activate OneDrive, it's going to do the same thing. So what do I mean by this? I'm going to now enable OneDrive, and as part of the process of enabling OneDrive, it's going to check if a backup already exists on OneDrive. And here it obviously sees that there was, because we had enabled OneDrive before and it had saved the database. So this time when I had reset the app and now try and reactivate the OneDrive backup, it's intelligent enough to know that there is a file there, and it gives you the option to say, do we want to restore it? This is the same as what I just did manually. Obviously, by doing it manually, you could have kept various historical copies of the OneDrive database and chosen to restore one of those. So in this case, it says, do you want to restore it? And just for fun, I will. and what it's going to do is replace the database that I have just imported into the app with the one that is on OneDrive, and now make sure that it is in sync with the new version. So after a couple of seconds, it will restore the last backup that it found on OneDrive into the application. I know this sounds a little complicated in the sense of the various different permutations. It's very rare that you're going to need to do any of this. The main thing is just to enable your OneDrive syncing from the beginning, and that way, should you ever need to restore it from OneDrive, you will have that capability.